Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second meeting of 2022. This is January 19th, the SIG ContribEx biweekly meeting. I am your host, Bob Killen, one of the co-chairs of SIG Contributor Experience. As a general reminder, these calls are recorded and will be posted to the internet sometime later. We abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which essentially boils down to please be excellent to each other. With that out of the way, would anyone like to volunteer as a note taker? If not, we can collectively try and handle it.
Yeah, let me copy pasta the template at least.
Oh, the template's been copied.
Oh, let me hit refresh. Oh, I'm not signed in. That helps.
Okay. I think most of the people on the call have been here before. But if anyone is new and would like to introduce themselves, please feel free. Okay. That kicks us over to our regularly scheduled content of events. Office hours. Does anyone have a report on office hours?
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm about to hit the submit new issue to start the process to donate it to Cloud Native TV.
Okay. For what it's worth, George was also +1 on that.
Yeah.
He was the longest, host for that one.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions, comments about office hours and it potentially going over to Cloud Native TV?
Let them know I can help too, if that helps, Paris.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay. And that will take us over to the community meeting.
Okay, so updates. I missed the last in-person meeting, but basically we're not going to actually have the meeting till February. I have not started the planning process just yet. And you can kind of see me on my camera. I have not started the planning process just yet. So if there's anybody who would love to kind of host the first one in February, that'd be great. And we can talk through what you need and how you would like to do that. But basically, I think we're still going to try focusing on the big overarching concerns of the project. So we'll probably talk about the KDEV migration and just like what happened, what it was like, maybe like a little bit of a retro on that. That would be great. Any current CAPs that are out there. And then those are like the two big topics I was thinking of. But if there's anybody who wants to volunteer any other topics, I believe the sheet is still up. I think that's what's linked in the notes, but we always could use more. But I think those probably are the big ones that the community is interested in right now.
The other one that I would potentially add, at least for this release specifically, is the status of the Docker shim docs updates and all that.
Okay. Sounds good. So we'll talk about KDEV migration kind of.
KDEV should only take like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just saying like retro ish, just to like remind people like, hey, this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
was cool. And here's why we did it, in case you didn't know. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking. But
yeah. The other thing that we want to talk about is the reliability bar proposal.
Bar.
The reliability bar proposal.
That went out to KDEV and the leads list, right? Recently.
Yep. I'll add a bunch of stuff to the spreadsheet. Okay. I can think of at least 10 things right now off the top of my head that are humongous that are going on within the project that we need to talk about.
Sounds good. What I'm thinking we'll do is we could probably I'm still trying to figure out the best format for the community meetings, but maybe like we highlight the top 10 and then ask people who's here to talk about which ones, and give people the option to talk about ones so that people who are really engaged in it are the ones talking. We're not talking about something that only has like 3 people out of the 20 that are on the call. So anyway, that's the update on the meeting. And I'm open to a host if anybody wants to go for it. Otherwise, I will host it. So there you go. Community meeting in a nutshell.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments on it? Okay. Contributor summits, honestly, no update really at this time. General reminder, it's going to basically be a copy paste of KubeCon North America last year. And so small room with rounds, things like that. Anyone have any questions or thoughts on that? Okay, or about the Kubernetes events in general? Okay, mentoring, meet our contributors, Paris. Should we even leave this thing on here?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we should start, I actually am planning, doing roadmap planning for mentoring, and some of the mentees are helping out as well with that. And I plan on kicking up new meet our contributors once we've done at least 1 to 2 community meetings. So we're dependent on the community meetings kicking off, because I think the higher priority is community meetings right now. So yes, let's keep it on, because I would like to kick things off again with meet our contributors either in March or April.
So Q2.
Yes. Yep. Q2 for sure. Q2 going hard.
Okay. Anyone else have thoughts or questions on meet our contributors?
Hello. I just wanted to know like what happens in the roadmap planning, and if it's something I can help in. I'd be glad to do that.
Not right now, unfortunately.
Okay. But can you just tell me like what's happening?
For the roadmap planning?
Yes.
Yeah, so roadmap planning, we are going through the issues and the PRs that have an area / mentoring tag, putting those on a spreadsheet, determining whether or not they have impact, what the timetable is, and if it's something that we should be focusing on and in what quarter. And then that's kind of what we're doing right now as far as roadmap planning is concerned. And then we're going to get that approved by the sub-project owners. And then we're going to proceed with our initiatives.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, that will take us to honestly the other mentorship programs. I don't see Ihor on the line. Does anyone else in mentoring have any updates on any of these?
I would like to start an outreachy request for Rob Scott. So I'm going to set an issue for that as well. So I will get with Rob to talk about Gateway API and get them an outreachy, and at least it at least brews up a lot of support in the area that they're looking for. So I'm going to set that issue today. I've got it on my planning tracker right now. So that's for outreachy.
Cool. Anyone else have any updates or thoughts, questions?
For group mentoring, I really want to prioritize group mentoring again in 2022. I think that's one of the best programs that we have from a mentoring perspective, especially when we grow current contributors. So I'm going to start setting some issues for like how we can really start group mentoring up again. Also, with mentoring planning, something that I discovered is that no one has really figured out the one-on-one program. And I think we either should sunset those docs completely, or we get someone to work on it.
For what it's worth, like I think, it'd be worth sunsetting.
Okay. So you're in favor of sunsetting those docs?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I am too, to be honest with you.
I just like, in terms of time and investment and getting other people to, work on it.
It's a heavy lift.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna set an issue to sunset those docs. Set issue. I'm just gonna set issues for the rest of my day today.
Rock on.
I know. All right. So yeah, that's mentoring stuff. But yeah, we definitely need to figure out how to programmatically set up group mentoring to where you don't need a Paris. That's my goal for this year.
Okay.
So my goal is to not need me to set up group mentoring.
I'd like to know what that process looks like when you do go through it.
Yeah, it's all documented in the mentoring repo. Look under group mentoring.
Cool.
Because I definitely need more coordinators for this, and it is impactful and it is visible. And like we just grew 10 chairs from this initiative last year. That's a lot. So yeah, so I definitely need to figure out how to make this more of a program and less of a Paris. That's my 2022 goals. And that's it for mentoring, I think.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay. As far as the new contributor workshop goes, that is largely going to be tackled by Joel and Eric and some other people from Lion's Way.
Oh, I thought I was on mute.
that will probably start up in the later half of Q1 to early Q2.
That'll be perfect timing for meet our contributors. We should like figure out how to roll those together.
Yeah, we can ping them in chat and figure out something too.
Yeah, we can roll like maybe like we could. Yeah, let's figure it. That sounds good. I'm just saying from a timing perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions or thoughts on the contributor workshop? New contributor workshop, I'm sorry. Okay. That takes us through mentoring and off to community management. I don't have any updates here right now.
Does YouTube go in here?
Huh?
Would YouTube go in here?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Yeah, making some progress. Got some time set aside to hack on the automation for YouTube on Friday. Basically, right now, need to figure out what's captured in issues in the repo presently and what's missing so that we can attack this from a more systematic perspective as opposed to, responding to the pain point. And then, yeah, I'm going to work through what some of the capabilities are of Zoom and of some of the proposed solutions that Pratisha and I have been working on. Oops, I was going to paste that, but that's not the right thing in the register. So I will find that and put it in there later. But yeah, that's where we are now. Is some of the triage and planning stuff that Paris mentioned earlier. And then Friday, I have some time to kind of work on this specifically.
Nice. As a note, like whatever winds up happening for, you end up doing for like Kubernetes in terms of like automation, all that, the rest of the CNCF and many projects will find it incredibly useful.
Yeah, we desperately need this across the board.
No pressure, right?
You'll be a hero, trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, you really will.
No worries. Yeah, let's see what we can figure out. But yeah, hopefully some more substantial updates by the next time that we meet. That's it for me. Thanks.
Cool. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions? Okay. That kicks us over to marketing.
So we had a Twitter bot issue because we went from reading
Master domain?
master domain. Yeah, that whole thing. That is fixed. Thank you, Bob, for your help there. Turns out I didn't have the perms to do it. That's why it took so long.
That was my bad. I'm sorry about that. Like
No,
I
you're
thought
fine.
the owners had admin rights in that repo.
No, and that enlightened me to the org repo. So thank you for that. But then we were kind of stalled out, I feel like, after the new year for new writers, new folks for writing SIG spotlights and such. So if you know folks that are interested, send them our way on Fridays at 11 Eastern.
Oh, actually, didn't the when APAC blog go live?
It did
Was
go
that
live.
last month?
Sorry, I forgot to mention that. It was this month.
Okay.
Yeah, that went live last week, last Thursday, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, time is ephemeral right now.
I had a hard time remembering if I had told in the last meeting that Twitter automation was fixed, so I just said it anyway. So yeah. Other blogs in progress. There's a multi-cluster blog Dewan's working on, trying to figure out. Tim has suggested that we post it to the dev site first, not Kubernetes blog. I don't know why. There was no reasoning for that change other than we should do it this way. If you have backstory, please let me know.
Like we're dual posting to like some of that content to both of them. Then one of the things that we can do is link basically the one that goes on the main Kubernetes.io blog. Like there is a header you can add that points back to KDev, which boosts its SEO.
Okay, so that makes total sense. Okay, now I get it. A canonical link is what I was missing there. Cool. So yeah, I'll work on pushing that through. It's been edited and reviewed beyond belief. So yeah.
Cool. Does anyone else have any thoughts or questions on for marketing?
Just a question. How are we planning about the comms regarding Docker Shim? Do we going to have some tracking sheet for us, or it will be done?
There's so much work going on with Docker Shim right now.
Yeah.
There's actually if you're not familiar, there's a whole Slack channel dedicated to Docker Shim removal right now. So SIG docs, Docker Shim, Celeste is leading that effort. It's going well from my observations. I'm actually in the middle of a PR for it right now. So what's the question really? I guess I don't know what
I was thinking,
marketing
do we have to as marketing, do we have to make any specific arrangements for the comms, or like we need to have some document or something so that we are prepared for now, because things will get overwhelmed after 1 or 2 weeks with the kind of set of PRs and everything that is lined up to come.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, other than posting whatever comes out of the SIG docs efforts, I don't think we need to do anything, because I would not want to potentially stir the hornet's nest.
That's like whatever blogs, whatever major updates, those will be the big things to social boost.
Yeah.
I feel like from a scope perspective of the marketing group, y'all should really focus on the upstream contributor. So I feel like any of the Docker Shim work that y'all do should have the tone of the upstream contributor and not necessarily the downstream user. That's SIG docs, and that's the blog, right? So like that's, I don't know if maybe the blog that you wrote, Chris, has more of a tone of the upstream contributor and what the upstream contributor needs to do in the Docker Shim removal. Because if so, I feel like that would be a contributor site blog, because that's what you all do. Your mission and charter is the upstream contributor.
So a call to action for contributors on this
Yes,
sort of thing.
like, so yeah, I think if y'all want to do anything, I definitely think that's what you should do, like a call to action to contributors, again, to stay scoped into what y'all do.
Right.
And link to
Yeah,
like the project board and some of the other like things that are more tasked out.
Yes, exactly. Like maybe getting people to help us. Like it's almost like a
Yeah.
meta call. Yeah, like a meta call.
Right.
You know. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So yeah, if next time y'all work with SIG docs, like that, think about that, like their scope downstream user, your scope upstream contributor, like, and then obviously there's going to be the both, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
sorry.
you're fine. Let me take that as an action item
Yeah.
for the marketing meeting.
And
on Friday.
I'm also going to start coming to more marketing meetings too, because the other thing is annual reports are just starting to kick up,
Ooh,
and there's not much that y'all need to help out with there at this point. I mean, except for like, you know, maybe some cheerleading things to some SIGs, but nothing serious. But it's not a problem, but the problem that we had last time was, okay, we've got this gigantic report, now what?
mhm.
And that's when I got the idea that we should do the tweets about like what people are looking for. So like my TLDR here is there's going to be a slew of actions after the annual reports are done. Like it's going to be tweets about like what the project needs. It's going to be blog posts about accomplishments. It's going to be, you know, like everything on that summary needs some kind of outreach, right? So I'll probably come to this Friday's marketing meeting and we can do like a deep dive on like what parts of the summary need outreach and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I'll talk to y'all then about like what's coming up, but that's just something that's on your horizon. So that's like a beginning Q2 thing, I think.
Okay.
If not like a last of ending of Q1. So but I'll come to y'all this Friday.
Cool. Thank you. I'll make a note. The Paris is coming.
Winter
I feel
is
like there should be
coming.
some Jaws theme music playing.
Yeah, where's my tuba when I need it?
Although for you, it should be like drum and bass somehow.
I know, right?
Okay. Are there any more questions regarding marketing? Okay.
I'm willing to help with the SIG Spotlight blog that Chris just mentioned.
Yay!
Yay. All right. If you're not familiar with the meeting invite system, the CNCF public calendar has the meeting. You can add it to your calendar.
The upstream marketing meeting, right?
Yeah.
No, the upstream marketing one, you should be able to get just from being on the ContribEx mailing list.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm in too many lists.
It's okay. Too many calendars.
Actually, just ended up redoing all my calendar invites.
So it is being discussed there only, right? Or can you just give me some information like what's happening?
Yeah, I think Paris is going to give us a idea of what was going to come out of the reports and what we should generate as a result.
Yep, exactly. Your outputs, pretty much. Yep. Like Debbie did good work on like a tweet stream last year, so we probably should do something similar this year, or maybe like we can figure out a better way to do it. Just an example.
Yeah, last time it was just a docs file where we used tags to gather the tweets. This time, let's try out like some efficient way. Because last time, what I observed is, many people though reached out, but sometimes it was just pulled. Like we were too late to resonate, and the work would have got done by the time we put out the tweet. So this time, let's be particular about that.
Yep, and that's exactly why I want to try to start us like much sooner than last time. So it would be good if we could have everything annual report like done by June or July. Like last time, I think we started in June and July. So So yeah, it would be good if we like by the half of this year, we were completely done and like hands were wiped with all annual report activities.
Sense to me. I'm all for this.
Okay. Is there anything else for marketing? Okay, we will kick it over to contributor documentation. The biggest thing here is that there is a PR in flight. That's the first link that needs review. And the second is a large overhaul of our at least 3 of our comms docs that needs review. Those ones are Google Docs, just to get sort of the any sort of major changes out of the way there before it's opened as a PR. And ideally, like if you have some time either later today or early tomorrow for at least the comms ones, that would be highly appreciated. It's pretty much my to-do personally for this afternoon. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding contributor docs? Okay. That will take us to GitHub Management. The biggest thing on this is that we have the Easy CLA flip over on February 5th. That is a Saturday. I sent an email to KDev. That could actually probably use a little bit more social boosting and potentially a blast out to Slack for the upstream marketing team, just as a reminder that that change is happening. The actual Josh?
Yeah, so I put it in LWKD too, but one of my concerns here is that if people see problems with Easy CLA, that is, if they're not, if Easy CLA is not clearing them when the old CLA tool did, the reporting path is to report that via a Linux Foundation ticket, which is fine, but it gives us no idea of how many problems still exist.
It was honestly the same case with the old one. The only solution was to contact the LF.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if it turns out that something like a quarter of our contributors are still having trouble with Easy CLA, we're going to want to tell the Linux Foundation, we're going to want to hold off on the switch.
So we did, that's part of why we did the major, like we let it sort of soak for like 2 months with the old one. I have like searched for previous like open issues or the comments from the bot regarding consistent issues right now, and it's pretty low. It's mostly from new contributors that have signed the old CLA, but the database sync hasn't happened. So I think at this time we should be mostly set in terms of issues from Easy CLA.
Okay. Okay.
Trust me, I have been banging the drum with the LF regarding the various issues with the Easy CLA for quite some time now. But yeah.
No, I just didn't want us to be caught by surprise by flipping the switch and suddenly finding out that, you know, some large number of contributors were still not being authorized by it.
Yeah. No, things should be pretty good by now. The next thing is that there is the open PR for flipping it. I linked it there. Myself, Christoph, and other people have taken a look at it. One of the actual key differences in the PR, and actually I don't know if it's in the PR right now, but one of the comments is we are probably going to remove our bot's message on every, like anytime it comes up as like CLA no. because the message from the LF bot now includes those resources automatically. So we'd essentially be posting twice. 1 hours. Okay. Yep. Oh, thanks. Sorry, I didn't see you were on the call. The R message will be removed because it's essentially redundant now. And who needs another GitHub notification? Is there anything else, Madhav? Is there anything else you can think of?
Not with respect to the EasyCL API, but there was another thing that I wanted to bring up regarding GitHub management. Like if EasyCL is done, I can talk about that. But yeah,
actually,
okay, so,
does anyone have any questions about EasyCLA? Sorry. Okay, we're good.
okay, there were a few things that I was thinking about for the past couple of weeks that I mainly wanted to float by you folks and see what you think. So recently in KK, a lot of issues you might have noticed that are open are mostly along the lines of support and not really bugs or feature requests for the project itself. That's one kind of majority of issues that are being opened. Another kind is these aren't as many, but we still get quite a few of them. That is in terms of issues opened against versions that are no longer supported. So for example, issues are opened against versions such as 1.16 and 1.17, even 1.19, right, which was the latest version which went out of support. What I've noticed is that there has been discussions and there's also an issue open, I think, on K community for how do we handle support issues, mainly because there are so many of them. Different SIGs have different approaches for them. Some SIGs don't really do anything about them. They try and answer it as much as possible. And then it kind of fizzles out and the triage bot reaps it if necessary, or if the author knows about how to handle it, then they put like a lifecycle frozen and it just stays there forever. I know for a fact that Node effectively and like very actively closes support issues that come up unless they are of like a lot of significance to the community. One thing that I was thinking for these type of issues was that instead of letting the bot, the triage bot sort of put a lifecycle route and auto close it, I know that there has been friction and feedback regarding negative sides of doing that. One thing that I was thinking of was if a kind support label is put, or maybe a new label is introduced to signify some form of support request, that automatically triggers a 30-day period. And the author is notified when the label is applied. So you say kind support, and the bot says that, hey, this is a support request. By default, it will be closed in 30 days, but you can always reach out on Slack and so on and so forth. I haven't given the wording too much thought, but like the main idea is that if we have a bot, we can agree upon the wording and like we can provide necessary information so that they don't get the rotten message essentially, and like say that we aren't getting help from the community.
So it'd be updating essentially the life cycle plugin.
Yeah. So like if a label is put like kind support, that automatically starts a 30-day period, a fixed 30-day period post which it will be closed, because some issues also get help for support on the issues page itself. And also the bot would mention that if it is closed, this is how you can reopen the issue. And like there's no one stopping them from reopening it. But basically like rotten should not, like the whole imagery around support issues and rotten like might not rub people well. That was one thing. Another thing was the same logic, but for like issues for out of supported versions. So there is a triage label not reproducible / so there is a triage label not reproducible. Maybe we can add another one saying out of support. That again triggers like the same 30-day period, but it tells them by linking the versions queue policy and how do you reopen it if it is closed, and so on and so forth, right? But like then again, it has considerations of like who can actually apply this label. You would need the similar constraints for OK to test as for, let's say, this new label called triage out of support type of thing. But like these were like two things that I was mainly thinking about for the past few days. And I wanted to like float it here before I open an issue on test infra to mainly see if it's discussed before and like if it's even worth putting effort into.
I'm not sure about the out of support one. Just because that would seems like something that would have to get like incrementally bumped each time.
No, not necessarily. If the tag is just triage EOL, then it's stateless.
Oh, and someone's and
yeah, so that's why only like I'm assuming only a GitHub org member can apply that label. I mean that's making a huge assumption that all org members are aware of the version skew policy of that Kubernetes maintains.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of like trying it to detect like if someone posts a comment with like, you know, because I think in at least one of the GitHub forums we ask what version.
Yeah, we do. KK we do.
Yeah. So
yeah, that would. I mean, the problem is, I'd be reluctant to try to fully automate that because, for example, just because somebody reports an issue in an older version doesn't mean the issue doesn't exist in current versions.
Yeah.
I'd want a human to look at that and say, is this worth checking on the current version or not? Yeah.
I agreed there. Sorry.
I know other projects that auto close anything that mentions an EOL version because of volume. Like a lot of Linux distros do that.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes problematic.
For what it's worth, from what I've seen in like, so I spend like around 30 minutes every day just going through issues and like making sure that relevant, at least the minimally relevant labels are there. So at least from what I see for EOL issues, folks from almost all SIGs, they ask if it's reproducible. Very rarely it happens that they actually provide insight into whether this is actually reproducible in like the current supported version. But like that's a valid point. We can't really assume that that might happen all the time, and it might cause it might cause significant problems. Yeah.
So what if the bot instead asked, you know, is this reproducible in the current versions that are supported and links to the supported versions? And then if the person who opened it, or if someone doesn't respond with yes, bot it has, or some way validates it with a validation tag, then it gets closed. So that it gets, because like if someone doesn't care enough to keep responding, then there's like kind of a guarantee that it's not really going to go anywhere, even if someone responds. That might be a possible like intermediate point to encourage people to think about which version they have. Is it reproducible in a newer version, etc.
One thing we can do too is just update the GitHub issue templates with links to the supported version, like the supported, you know, matrices there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, I did not think of that. We should definitely do that.
I'm not saying like do that as an alternative or anything like that. I do like my gut is it's at least worth bringing up to the broader community. One problem we have historically seen is like there's other sort of bot commands and things like that, but they tend to not be used by like a wider, by the community at large. So we would like, if we did launch something like this, we would want to make sure that like the other like groups know that they exist. So that might be like engage the upstream marketing, you know, group. And that actually would be a great thing for the community meeting, you know, as we dive back in. So like just something to keep on the radar when potentially proposing and implementing the solution.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll think a little bit more about it frame things a little better, structure it better, and get back. Maybe then it'll help.
Either way, I do think it's worth, at least create it, like flesh it, like creating an issue or whatever and linking it out and asking for people for, more comments than the call.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks.
Maybe you said this and I missed it. Why would we be leaving support issues open for 30 days rather than just closing them immediately?
For example, there was an issue. I mean, this is just like one specific example, but there might be similar ones as well. A few weeks back, there was an issue on 1.19, which recently became EOL. So when that issue was opened, it was EOL. But it turned out that the maintainers of, so this is API machinery related. So the maintainers of API machinery were able to actually provide specific links and like links to the PRs, which actually ended up solving it in the more recent versions. So mainly to like, provide as much support as possible, but don't expect, like it being solved basically. So if we can provide directions and links, then for sure, that's great, but there's no expectations from anyone. That's basically the idea of the 30-day period. I mean, though it can be shorter, but like that's what I thought initially.
I think part of it too is like not all SIGs triage the same. And a lot of times there's stuff that is just left open.
Yeah.
So that's where having potentially alternate messaging instead of just saying rotten, would be better.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, like we have the support request thing. I think actually the one thing that we would definitely have to do for these things is we would have to consider just the like enabling it just on KK, because like some other groups do use like kind support and all that.
Oh yeah, this is just for KK. Other projects have their independent support policies. So
okay, cool. I was just double checking that our support request in KK does take you right to discuss. Are there any other questions, comments regarding suggestions or GitHub management in general?
Yeah, one brief thing that I wanted to check on. So we've introduced a new tag, release notes action required, for good reasons, in order to collect stuff where we want to alert people that they're going to need to change things before upgrading. The folks in the release team had the impression that those PRs would also continue to carry a separate release notes tag, which they don't. And that broke a tool. I believe that's already been fixed. I just don't know whether or not anybody else has any tools that look for the release notes tag.
There is one, but it takes stuff from, I'm trying to remember where it gets output, but there's the rel notes website.
Okay, so if the rel notes website is fixed, then that tool will be fixed as well. Okay. Well, we'll see. We might revisit it because I just alerted the rel notes person when somebody didn't show up.
Okay.
Because it looks for that tag. And if it becomes a problem, then we'll come back and say, we need both tags.
Yeah. For what's worth too. Sorry.
Yeah. By the way, did we announce that tag was going to be a thing?
I don't recall it.
Okay. Okay, we should drop something to KDev or something and just say, hey, it's there. This is you know,
You need to start using this now.
yeah, you need to start using this now, and you need to start paying attention to things that have this tag. The because people are definitely using it. So okay.
Okay. Does anyone else have any sort of like GitHub management stuff they want to talk about? Okay, this takes us to open mic, and we have 10 minutes left. Is there anything that people do want to talk about that's not on the agenda right now?
I got a quick question. I saw that we have that event coming up in Austin, the Open Source Summit North America in June. And I wondered if we're going to do anything for that.
So Open Source Summit is Linux Foundation, and I think typically Open Source Summit and is like everything, not necessarily everything Kubernetes, like a lot of the other stuff, and then KubeCon's very
Except
Kubernetes
weirdly
focused.
they've announced there's a ContainerCon thing.
Yeah,
along
there's
with
also
it.
Cloud Open and stuff like that too.
Okay. That was a really
So-
polite way to say absolutely not. Thank you.
Yes.
No,
And
I'm not saying absolutely not. I'm just saying that I don't know that we've ever really partnered with them for
Okay.
that.
no,
I don't know.
we have done I think contributor talks that people have submitted via CFP. So Nigel, I think a perfect CFP for the Open Source Summit is the Zoom to YouTube integration that you're going to do. So you should fill out that CFP and get it cooking.
Let's just add more pressure on the situation.
And honestly, everyone in this room right now that's working on anything that's contributor experience related, fill out all of the CFPs for all of the open source conferences, get the good word out as to what goes on here, right? Like, so no, we don't do anything as a group for that event, but you should absolutely sing till your heart, sing your heart out.
Well, I think the CFP closes is March. So yeah, if
You got it. You got it.
And if you need help, I'll help you.
Okay, thanks.
Right. That does bring up something else, though, that is relevant for us, which is that maintainer session submissions are due
February 14th.
February 14th. Was ContribEx planning on submitting one?
Yes. Right now, like there's gonna be the standard intro deep dive. Was there any other sub projects that wanted to do one? Oh, we can ask in Slack too. Okay. Are there any other items that people want to talk about? Okay, cool. People get 8 minutes to between now and their next meeting. Thanks all.
All right, but first you'll have to unlock your device.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Later.
everyone.
Hi, Siri.
Yep. Google.